Welcome back to my channel, Fazbear's Menagerie of Madness, where I'll explore the universe of Five Nights at Freddy's and I hope in a new and unique interpretation of events. The newest game in the series, Help Wanted 2, has now been released and the YouTube community is buzzing, and yep, I'm joining the fun too. But to make this different, I'll be connecting the dots between both of the Help Wanted games. This is because I'll show the overarching story for why events in Security Breach took place. The title, Help Wanted, is a clue for the purpose of the game in the series. There are two people involved who I think are in need help. Firstly, Nessie is the captive one, wanted her freedom from Elizabeth Afton. Secondly, I think Springtrap has left the costume rabbit and now needs the help of Elizabeth to be autonomous once again.
This game has some kind of malicious code in it that we haven't been able to fully contain or even understand for that. It seems that it's attached itself to these logs. My logs. That can't be an accident. So now I have to make a choice. Do I leave these logs here for you to find, or do I try to purge this thing myself by destroying the logs? I've chosen the latter. I can't delete them. By creating a protected area to store these logs apart from the game, I effectively gave this thing a safe place to hide itself. It's in here now. I may not be able to delete it, but I might be able to do something else now that it's attached itself. I have an idea. I ran a fragmentation program on the area of memory that was storing these logs for you. I effectively broke the files into pieces and broke the anomaly along with it. That means that you won't have my warnings to guide you, but hopefully it also means that this anomaly, this virus, or whatever it is, will remain broken and unable to do more damage.
The main event to start the next chapter in the Five Nights at Freddy's story is between the haunted Springtrap soul moving on from its costume form into a digital network and the young computer programmer that caught the virus and isolated it. Weakening the soul by breaking it up into several parts, Springtrap could only wait until someone else would come forth and begin the process of bringing together Springtrap. By assuming control of another person's body via the VR system, I think Elizabeth Afton would assume control of that programmer, with a goal in mind to move the pieces somewhere safe.
Hello. You don't know me. I had created a series of logs for you documenting the troubled development of this VR game that you're now testing. If you are unable to abandon development, hide all traces of these logs that I've created. I fear that finding them and reassembling them will also reassemble the very thing I've tried so desperately to destroy. It wants to escape through someone plugged into this game. That's you now. You have to let it begin the process of leaving through you. Then use the disconnect switch that I've embedded by the main stage. Let it approach you. Let it begin to merge with you. Play the music and flip the switch.
Elizabeth doesn't have the computer savvy to recompile Springtrap, but Nessie does. If Nessie won't help Elizabeth, then Elizabeth will need to move the pieces of Springtrap to a new location. Through network sharing or in the minds of the beta testers, Elizabeth is now in charge. The internal struggle within Nessie that was going on during the emails of AR was getting Lewis's attention.
So the word compliance by itself isn't going to set off any red flags, but the sentence, how to induce compliance in human subjects, and how to include self-compliance, did actually get my attention.
Nessie, aware of the internal workings of the email server, was likely sending out clues.
Did you search for help by itself?
Elizabeth is working to get Springtrap out of the business.
I didn't want to put this in writing, but over the weekend, did you happen to create an IT department email address for yourself and use company credentials to reach out to a subcontractor and access their system?
The movement of the virus is also known to Lewis.
Does Pizzaplex mean anything to you? Whoever created those false credentials also used them to override security protocols and allow a data packet through after it was flagged as a virus.
As the virus is moved out from the servers, Elizabeth is getting ready for her time at the Pizzaplex.
Please just let me know you're okay. There is a package here for you from a fabric company. Are you making a costume?
We also get Vanessa's first mention from these emails. A transfer happening while Nessie is involved at the VR company.
Brenda, attached is the list of fourth quarter transfers. Vanessa A. From security to security transfer request. From Stanley Hauser.
We learned that VA had accepted a data packet into the system, allowing the virus to move on. VA had previously been listed as a senior technical support representative, to which Louise is aware that Nessie fabricated that account. Before the events of security breach was when the therapy sessions with Vanessa and patient 46 took place. Recordings were left in a hidden room in the Pizzaplex to be found. From the CDs, we learn that Vanessa is moving to the Pizzaplex. We also learn that patient 46 is connected and has been recognized by the staff there.
Do you know a place called Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex? I'll take your silence as a yes. And besides, I know you know it, because the technicians who work for Pizzaplex know you. Or rather, I guess it would be better to say that they think they do. They report that they've caught you on camera, or at least it appears to be you. Nothing to say about that? Well, the techs are convinced that you've hacked into their system many times. Right? Is it the electronics you like? I saw in your file that you have developed software programs that talk to you in repeat phrases.
One found duffel bag message tells the story of a worker who may have been tested to take on the role to collect the prize from the 4th Princess Quest game.
Exit interview. They are working together. The arcades. They are hiding something. The glitches. Glitch them all at the same time, then the princess will recognize me. She's testing me. I am not yet worthy. The others are protecting it. Let me stay. I am so close. Just one more night, please. I can save the princess.
The second title, Help Wanted 2, is again a clue to the purpose of the game in the series. There are two people again involved who I think need help. Firstly, Cassie's father is the captive one, wanting clarity to whether or not he's free from Vanny. Secondly, Springtrap's parts are being collected by Elizabeth, who needs someone to collect the final piece. When the player wakes up, they are greeted with the Help Wanted introduction. With no memory of what came before this day, the player can only push forward and complete the tasks given. Simple at first, the tasks grow in complexity until the time when you can remove the mask and see the world as it really is. Many unused voice lines exist in the game files that can go to explain the motives of characters. The reason for these lines not being used could be intentional, through revisions, or could have been left as clues for theorists looking for additional information. The story, The Scoop, from Book 12 of the Fazbear Frights includes just such a story where the main character finds an image after decompiling a FNAF game. The picture is a clue that led to solve a mystery. As the story was written by Scott Cawthon himself, I think I'm safe in saying Scott knows about hiding clues. Within the story of Help Wanted 2, we get clues that the person we play as is likely Cassie's father. The appearance of a Bonnie mask during the Princess Quest game, the use of a Vanny mask and Foz wrench. We also get the line that the player is the last one left. For the player to follow through with each of the game's testing, then it's likely that our memory was suppressed. Interaction with a Vanny mask would grant a skilled and malicious hacker access to our mind and memories. While each of the games we play it would be expected in the Pizzaplex, the appearance of hidden clues to the past exist, I think, to give an identity to the one responsible. Dolls representing the victims of the 1980s and Circus Baby's appearance are examples that direct us to the Afton family. The last game to play is the Princess Quest game. Situated next to an inhibitor, once disabled the inhibitor, the removal of the Vanny mask shows us the real world we are in. Having been relocated to the pizzeria restaurant, we are being tested to eventually be able to complete the Princess Quest game. As the voice line states, it kept you for a reason. Cassidy, who assumed the role of the princess, has been guarding against anyone coming to reclaim Springtrap, who has been contained in part by the game. Following the first Help Wanted game having Springtrap divided up by Nessie, Elizabeth has been seeking to join back together the haunted soul. As the voice line states, it is bound to the past, find its memories and return. Once the player takes the sword from the machine, Cassidy has no way to stop the player. Defenseless, Cassidy has failed to stop Springtrap from being recovered. During the Princess Quest game, we have the appearance of a Bonnie mask. This, I suspect, is Nessie reaching out to us and trying to get us to remember who we are. Not convincing enough to stop the player, we follow through with the game. Our purpose, to get back what Elizabeth is unwilling to risk our safety in getting the last piece. The trade of mask for Springtrap plush, I suspect, is symbolic in a digital world. The Vanny mask allows us to enter the digital world, although giving that mask away could be the player's means of escape. This could be a trade of control of one's own body for the piece of another soul that is Springtrap's memory. So who are the main characters between these games? Nessie was responsible for breaking apart Springtrap's soul. Elizabeth entered Nessie's mind and assumed control. Unable to combine the pieces of soul together, she kept Nessie available to her to hack security systems, animatronics, build robot children, and eventually combining Springtrap together. Cassidy found herself defending the place that Springtrap's memories were stored. If she was to gain access to Springtrap's cell, she would defeat it. Springtrap would be incomplete and lost forever. Cassie's father was the last in a series of subjects that would gain that last piece of Springtrap back. Nessie, now receiving the Vanny implant, can create objects in the VR world to help stop Elizabeth's plan. The duffel bags were Nessie's attempt to let Vanessa know how to stop Elizabeth. The Bonnie mask in Princess Quest was Nessie's attempt to remind the player who they were. Although, this was all not enough. Elizabeth is given the final piece of Springtrap. Breaking the illusion of the plush rabbit and dancing rabbit, Elizabeth has merged the final piece into herself. With a last wave, Elizabeth can finalize her plan to rebuild the Aftons. This leaves Cassie's father to wonder if there is anything more he could have done. The image of Cassie accepting the mask, I think, is Nessie's signal to him that she can cross over between worlds. He should really seek her out. Thanks for staying with me till the end. Click on the image of the rabbit in the lower right corner to subscribe for future content.